This, and I don't even know what to call this, but it's really sad, but this breakdown is quite possibly one of the most bizarre breakdowns I have seen yet involving airports and airplanes. Now, this woman, we don't even know her name, but we do know that she is a 39-year-old dentist from Las Vegas, Nevada. There is also not much to this story, not much has come out yet, but what we do know is that they're saying that this woman suffered a mental episode at Sangster International Airport in St. James. She and a friend were leaving St. James, and they were heading back to Las Vegas, Nevada on a United Airlines flight. While she was waiting to board her plane going back to Las Vegas, Nevada, she and another woman, and I do think that other woman, what they're reporting, was the woman that she was traveling with, her friend, got into an altercation. And this is when she went into ballistics, I guess you would call this. It has yet to be reported what caused the altercation or what led to this, but during the encounter, this woman undressed and started acting in a very erratic manner, pushing aside persons who offered her her clothing and assistance. The police eventually intervened and she attacked them as well, while screaming expletives and embarking on their shouting rampage. She was even heard saying, "The devil is inside of me, get it out." While she was shouting this and rolling all over the floor, people were trying to grab her and she was still resisting. She was still pushing them away while screaming, "The devil's inside of me," and she was throwing around all these curse words. While at the same time, she actually urinated all over the floor in the departure hall, as stunned passengers along with airport and airline staff looked on. Now, all of this is blurred out because she is indeed naked, but what they are saying is when she eventually stood up, she grabbed her pubic area and appeared to reach for the weapon of a policeman who attempted to restrain her. So now that she's grabbing for weapons, this is going way too far. So another policeman was seen pulling what appeared to be a taser from his waistband in an attempt to subdue the woman. So I guess they hit her with the taser because eventually they pinned her to the floor and were able to handcuff her. She was quickly dressed in a pair of shorts as she laid face down on the floor, still shouting obscenities to the police. She was yelling things like "F you, F me." She was also being highly sexual with her words and how she was acting. Like I said, she was grabbing her pubic area. She was also trying to hump the policeman. So what happened after this incident? Well, unlike my other plane stories where people go absolutely berserk and they're taken to a hospital with no name, this story actually gives us a name of the hospital. She was taken to Cornwall Regional Hospital for a psych evaluation. So what do you make of this? And I get it. I 100% get it when people say that mental illness is very serious. Mental illness is horrific, especially when it goes untreated. So we can never take the mental illness side out of these stories. We just can't because, again, we're not doctors. We can't diagnose these people. So yes, they might have a mental illness problem. The thought about flying exacerbates it. Who knows if they're taking some kind of drug or drinking to try to cope with the anxiety of flying. They get into some kind of argument and it just sets everything off, right? We can't take that off the table. So when I read the comments in my videos where they say, Minutes of Horror, you never talk about mental illness and these people could be going through something mentally, that is because, like I said, once again, I'm not a doctor, right? I don't take it off the table. I agree that it's a theory that shouldn't just be ignored. But again, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose people. But then you have people that take their theories to the extremes. They'll say that these people are mentally ill. Don't talk about it. Just sweep it under the rug and leave it alone. Do not come up with any other theory because these people are mentally ill and that is that. But you have to take into consideration just how strange that this is only happening on airplanes and inside airports, when we do have other modes of transportation that are just as busy, if not busier, than airplanes. Like buses, for example. All walks of life take a bus every day in almost every location across the world, yet when have we had a good bus story where somebody went absolutely berserk? Where somebody was either ripping off their clothes, yelling that the devil is inside of me, talking about demons and seeing things that don't make sense, trying to claw and open the bus door and jumping out of the bus door. We're just not seeing that. So you mean to tell me mentally ill people are taking planes as their only mode of transportation? I know some people want to say that flying will increase their anxiety, but I know some people that have a lot of anxiety taking a bus because a bus is very packed. You have people looking at you. You have people saying things. Hearing the wrong thing can really set somebody off. There have been many fights on buses. But then we have subways. We have had people record people acting very bizarre on subways, but not to this extent. And not to the point where people are yelling about demons, Satan, God, and trying to claw their way out of the subway, trying to claw their way out of the train. So it makes no sense. You have to make it make sense. When was the last time you heard somebody on a commuter train trying to open the train door or trying to open a door yelling, "Get me out"? Then there are other theories that these people are trying to be the next Tiffany G. They are trying to do this for clout and for fame. But we just had a plane story yesterday, a very bizarre plane story that also throws that theory out the window. An elderly Air Canada passenger in a state of crisis was restrained after trying to open the door mid-flight. Now, we don't know this man's age, but given the fact that he's elderly, he must be rather old. And it doesn't sound like the type of person that's trying to get TikTok clout. An Air Canada passenger in a state of crisis had to be restrained after he tried to open a door during a flight from London to Toronto. The elderly man was aboard flight AC 855 Sunday when he tried to open the door, which is not possible at cruising altitude. Now, this was cited by Peel Regional Police, but who really knows what's possible on airplanes anymore? The cabin crew restrained the passenger as part of their flight safety protocols, but as they were restraining him, other articles are saying he was also throwing out profanities. He was fighting them off, and he was trying to open this plane door, yelling, "Get me out." And he was in a state of crisis and confusion. Yet police state it doesn't appear his actions were intentional. Now, yes, this is a man who is elderly, so we can't take off the table that he's having some kind of episode. But remember those words, state of crisis. Now, why I say remember those words, state of crisis, because just 2 weeks prior to this incident, another passenger on board another Air Canada aircraft suffered the shock of his life after he abruptly opened the door on the plane and ended up landing directly on the tarmac. He badly wanted out of this plane. The man was soon apprehended by the responding authorities and taken to a hospital for treatment. The police stated during the investigation determined the individual was in a state of crisis and that they suffered minor injuries. So we have, in just a span of 2 weeks, 2 individuals and one who is elderly trying to get off these planes any way possible, even if that means opening the door mid-flight, or even landing on the tarmac and sustaining major injuries. What in the world are we looking at here? And this is happening pretty much all over the world. Are all these individuals mentally ill? Or is the mental illness just a cover to sweep everything under the rug and something bigger is going on here? I am still investigating these plane stories just as much as I talk about UFOs and aliens, because it seems like whatever is going on here is a part of a much bigger narrative, a much bigger story. But in any case, I do want to hear from you. I do want to know what you think about all these very bizarre plane stories, whether they're happening on the actual plane or inside the airport. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.